everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. Oh, there's something about your love, something about your love changes everything in my body. Oh, something about your love, something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 Something about your love changes everything.
Happy and blessed Thursday morning, Rooted Men. Good to have you on board. This is Pastor Tom, Firmly Rooted Ministries, and we are digging into the last chapter of Proverbs, Proverbs chapter 31, and the focus is on women. We had the king's mom and the king reflecting on the teachings that the mom provided. Now we go on with an epilogue, which is the wife of a noble character, a wife of noble character. And so used often, some of the times it's used in weddings, I've heard. It's certainly used in counseling and marriage counseling and those kinds of things, as well as some passages from Paul about marriage. But we'll get into that in just a second. Let's see. Tom's on board. Blessed Thursday morning, Rooted Men. Chuck B. Good morning from Rooted Men. Grace and peace to you all. By the way, guys, the Rooted Men Bible study tonight is not happening at the office. We're going to kind of go directly over to the 24th Street Tavern, hang out, kind of celebrate Christmas, have some fellowship. So don't come here, but go to the 24th Street Tavern, and we're just going to have some fellowship time. Brian Vlaming, good morning, men. Bert Reggiani, good morning. Chris Connolly, good morning. Steve Skopik, good morning. And Steve, our prayers go out to your bride and to the entire family. All right, so let me pull up the text. Boom. Epilogue. The wife of noble character. A wife of noble character who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. Placed in that position of two becoming one flesh, the value is that the other somehow completes something, because it's not good for man to be alone. That there is a completion of something. That I can't be all I can be without Kimberly being part of that, right? That especially in the process of raising children in the next generation, we got to do it together, and actually now add the family, that it takes a village, and sometimes even the church village, to help in that process. But it takes people of highest character, highest integrity. She brings him good and not harm all the days of her life. She brings him good and not harm. Some of the verses I think American Christian couples should be looking at is, Jesus says the greatest commandment, the second part of it, is to love your neighbor as yourself. Treat that other person as you would want to be treated. That love is unconditional. That we seek to do good and not harm. This is true for a wife as it is for a husband. That certainly because of our sinful natures, we'll get into issues. But none of those issues is greater than the one thing, which is our relationship. And if Christ can reconcile the whole world to himself in the death and resurrection of Jesus, then he certainly can reconcile a perspective or a disagreement about a thing that is going on in a relationship. The goal is to bring the other good, not harm. Don't bear false witness. Be quick to listen and slow to speak. Be angry, but don't sin, and don't give the devil an opportunity. All these verses that talk about how we should operate inside of a relationship. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. Now, look, this is all got done years and years and years ago, obviously. So women were staying at home. They were feeding the family while the husband would be out from morning till night working. But the idea is they are cooperatively working for the same goals. Their goals. Their goals as a couple, their goals as a family, their goals and what they believe God wants from them. So whether this is a stay-at-home mom or a mom that's going out to work, she's like she selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She does her work as unto the Lord rather than for men. She's not doing it for you. She's doing it for her, you, and God. And you are also doing that as well. She's like the merchant ships bringing her food from afar. You know, it's like these big freighters that come in and bring in all the goods from other lands. It's the idea, the picture here is, I realize her value. She's not like an employee. She's not like just somebody else in my life. She is someone that's bringing me good. She is someone that intends to bring me good and I her. And in this relationship, I realize that in this daily walk we live, as busy as it might be, we're both trying to bring good. We're all bringing our part to this process. So what does Satan do? You're not doing enough. I always do. You never do. Ugh. That's the stuff we got to stop. We got to see Christ in the other, and we've got to work for a we. The strongest relationships, you'll hear them say we. The weakest relationships, I, you, her, me. All right. She gets up while it's still night and provides food for her family and portions for her female servants. She's taking care of things. She takes care of things. That her orientation is to take care of others, not just herself, not just to make sure that she has enough food to go to work, that she has enough lunch to go to work, that she has clothes on to go to work, but she adds to that this feeling that I'm providing for others, my husband, my family. She considers a field and buys it. And out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She's productive. And one of the questions is, because of some of the things that we have going on in our relationship, and I don't say we don't have things. Do the things that concern us and get us frustrated, are we not seeing the big things that they're doing? And if we could see the big things that they're doing for us and for the family, might we able then to put the priority of the stuff we're arguing about down to a level where it can be talked about? It's the idea of what's the majors and what's the minors. Satan would have us be blinded of the majors, so we only focus on the minors, and pretty soon the minors become the majors and they overwhelm us. Are we seeing this work? She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her task. She sees the trading is profitable, and her lamp does not go out at night. If something's got to get done, she keeps going. In her hand, she holds the distaff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. It's the process of the wheel that makes wool garments. The picture is that she's always profitable in her work. She's always getting things done. She opens arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. That goes back to a verse that we just talked about yesterday, that we defend the rights of those who cannot speak for themselves. That person has a heart that not only sees husband and sees children and sees all the things that need to get done, but then has a heart of empathy and compassion for those who are hurting. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. Her work is preparatory. She always sees in the future. She's not just doing enough for today, but she's making sure that days ahead are covered. She makes coverings for her bed. She's clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes the seats among the elders of the land, which means no one's talking about the crap that's going on behind doors, right? Because everybody has issues. I know it's going to be shocking, but Pastor Tom and Kimberly have issues. The thing is, they're put in a priority and they're dealt with in a way that they don't make it out into the community. They don't make it out in some type of gossip or harm. She makes linen garments. Make sure I'm going to the right place. Oh, I think I went too far. Yep, I'm going to stop. Okay, so I went too far. Okay, yeah, that's it. I guess contemplate your relationships today, whether you're married or not married. if fulfilling the greatest commandment is to love God with our whole heart, whole mind, whole soul, and all of our strength, and loving our neighbor as ourselves, how are we doing in that loving our neighbor as ourselves? Do a little time study today on how much your mind and your words were focused on you, me, rather than others. Where's the balance? And is it possible that that balance is what creates collisions and creates explosions when finally two people get back together and need to be family? If for 10 or 12 hours a day it's I for both parties, and then all of a sudden the biblical demand would be we, it's tough to do. It's tough to do. But if we were other oriented, the 10, 12 hours that we work, wouldn't it be easier to be other oriented once we got home? All right, I think that's what I have for you. Guys, I hope this devotion was a blessing to you. Have a great day. Make it a firmly rooted day, and may someone see Jesus in us today. Peace.